Hi there, vintage animation nerd coming at you with the Christmas episodes, the Christmas and or winter themed episodes of the 1980s. Let's break some of these episodes down. These were the syndicated episodes of some classic cartoons. These are not the Christmas specials. I'm not talking about Mickey's Christmas Carol. I am not even talking about He-Man and She-Ra, a Christmas special, aka Christmas Comes to Eternia. I'm not even talking about Fat Albert's Christmas special. We're talking about the Christmas and winter themed syndicated episodes that would occasionally come up, especially around this time of season. Let's get this started. What better place to start? Amen. Season 1's Region of Ice and Season 2's Trip to Morania. Season 1's Region of Ice was far superior to Trip to Morania, but I say that a lot about the Season 1 episodes over the Season 2 ones. In Region of Ice, the Ice Lord captures the royal family on Skeletor's orders because Skeletor is holding the gorgeous Princess Snowflake ransom. Orko manages to prevent getting caught and hilariously deceives the Ice Lord into thinking that he is He-Man. Strikes a bargain to go to Snake Mountain and free the Ice Lord's daughter with some help from his assistant, Prince Adam. What develops is one of the most memorable, funniest Snake Mountain scenes. Snake Mountain enter, rescue, and escape scenes ever. It is also the only time that Snake Mountain's snake actually comes to life and tries to trap the heroes within, and on top of the slapstick comedy of how they beat the evil warriors in this particular episode, that was the thought of Snake Mountain's head coming to life and trying to trap the heroes within was pretty graphic. Season 2 is A Trip to Morania. It was another chance to see a winter scene, and I used to love seeing winter scenes on TV because at the time I loved winter. Scatter some snow about, and it led to good writing for me. I did not see A Trip to Morania until the advent of DVD, which well over half of the episodes of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe I don't even remember seeing until they were out on DVD. Well, Eternia has a new power source that is no longer called Eternium, and King Boreas of Morania has it and wants Randor to test it. Randor sends Adam, Cringer, Orko. Is Teela there? I can't remember. Off to Morania to get the energy crystals, and Skeletor consequently sends Trapjaw, Beastman, and Clawful. Clawful is the first villain to be expelled, rather humorously, and then which leads to Skeletor, Beastman, and Trapjaw almost taking over Morania. If not for He-Man stopping that. Again, it was a nice winter-themed episode. Nice moral about about taking the young seriously. Yes, even if it's a young girl. She-Ra, the Black Snow. After so many times of being a supporting character who was there and gone within 45 seconds, my girl, my lovely Frosta, gets her a chance to shine in the Black Snow. She is the Ice Empress of Galatia, and she and the Selkies of the Kingdom of Snows are at odds because a black snow has been falling over the Selkies' kingdom, and they blame Frosta and her people. Hot heads, hot tempers could lead to war. Enter Modulok and his weather wheel, and the true cause of the black snow. Enter also Multibot and one of She-Ra's more humorous fight scenes. This is what I remembered about this episode as a child. I remembered Multibot showing up and thinking this was a great episode. In fact, I remember the scene with Multibot lasting far longer than it did as soon as I saw it on DVD. Anyway. Well, Frosta is eventually captured by the Selkies. She has to escape, and she has to tell her own people to back off from the horrors of war. If only to convince the Selkies of the same, while She-Ra disables the weather wheel and stops the black snow from falling and reveals Frosta's innocence. Yep. I'm terrible at describing these episodes. They're better than what I just said. Plus, the lovely Frosta gets her chance to shine. Okay. Da-da-da-da-da. Inspector Gadget in Winterland. Inspector Gadget in Winterland was not only the first episode of Season 1, it was the last episode of Season 1. And there are so many different variations of this episode floating around. I mean, this was the episode where Gadget was wearing the mustache to look like Inspector Clouseau. So, in the episode to end Season 1, they finally addressed the mustache with a couple of re-recorded lines. Or there is the version of the Season 1 episode in which the goofy inspector is not voiced by Maxwell Smart, Don Adams, but he's voiced by Space Ghost and or the Blue Falcon, Gary Owens. Yeah, Inspector Gadget sounded a little better with Gary Owens' voice, but Don Adams' voice just matched this. Just fit the bumbling bionic beat cop that was Inspector Gadget. I never cared for him. There were maybe a couple of episodes, 2 or 3, that I liked. That's neither here nor there. Well, Gadget in Winterland. Winterland is the Winter Olympics. Claw and Mad, I think, are after the Olympic torch. So Inspector Gadget has to beat off the Mad Yodeler, a robot, a snow monster, and a plethora of other traps leading up to a dynamited Olympic torch. As far as episodes of Inspector Gadget went, this one was kind of a mid-carder. It wasn't one of the very few great episodes. It definitely was not it was not on the list of most of the bad ones. Which leads to Inspector Gadget Saves Christmas. Nothing to see here. Speaking of barely anything to see here, Rambo and the Force of Freedom, Snowkill, and When Savage Stole Santa. Snowkill had General Warhawk and Sergeant Havoc using a boring machine that looked like Shredder's drill module, and was actually called the Earth Eater, about 5 years before James Bond Jr. Premiered and had an episode called The Earth Eater, piloted by Goldfinger. Oh well. Anyway, Snowkill. It's a treetop Colorado village covered in snow, and there are buried missiles underneath it. It's a snow-capped village in Colorado called Treetop, I think. Yes. And buried missiles and rockets underneath. Well, Warhawk would very much like this ammunition, so he takes a boring machine and goes underground. Rambo and the Force of Freedom have to contend with Savage up top in a snowbound battle. When Savage Stole Santa, Rambo has an old buddy randomly named Chris, who is a former weapons designer and trader, former arms dealer, turned toy designer and toy deliverer. Guy randomly named Chris looks an awful lot like Kris Kringle, complete with the beard. And there's a sea story about a tiny orphan kid, because half of the episodes of Rambo and the Force of Freedom had them rescuing some kind of kid. Most of the time of which the kid was some kind of stowaway. And this was one of those times. But in this case, the little orphan had to learn the spirit of Christmas, and who better to teach a young orphan the spirit of Christmas than John Rambo and a toy designer named Chris, who now looks exactly like Saint Nick. But Mr. Toy Designer was an arms dealer and weapons supplier in a former life, and that is exactly what Warhawk and Savage are after today. They take him hostage. It's up to Rambo to free his old friend from having to go back to his old life. Where were we? The Real Ghostbusters and Xmas Marks the Spot. I'll say it. The first season of The Real Ghostbusters was the best of the best. What it didn't need were 5 seasons, and definitely not up to the point where it turned into Slimer and The Real Ghostbusters, but I digress. Alright, Xmas Marks the Spot is the story of Ebenezer Scrooge and A Christmas Story. Well, the Ghostbusters find a time rift back to Victorian England, and they incidentally bust the ghosts of past, present, and future before they can save Scrooge and save Christmas. Go back to their time rift with their job done, and they've altered Christmas in the present, to which Scrooge is a best-selling author, and everyone hates Christmas. There's a side story where Peter learns the spirit of Christmas too, because Christmas was always a letdown for him as a child, with a father who always worked on Christmas and was never around. Show this episode once and it's great. Revamp the episode to replace the original Peter Venkman of... Oh my god, I knew this answer a second ago. It's the same voice of Garfield. Lorenzo Muzak. Reshoot this episode to replace the original Peter of Lorenzo Muzak with Dave Coulier, and it's not so good. I mean, it's tantamount to exactly what happened with the real Ghostbusters around the time that Dave Coulier, Mr. Joey Gladstone, took Lorenzo Muzak's place to voice Peter later in the series run. No. There is a critical difference between Lorenzo Muzak and Joey Gladstone. I mean, Dave Coulier, whatever. But we were talking about Xmas Marks the Spot. It's a very classic Christmas episode. I don't even have to like the real Ghostbusters to appreciate this episode. It's... And then, so the Ghostbusters busted the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Egon has to enter the containment chamber to let them out, and in case he doesn't have enough time, it is up to Peter to fill in for the ghost of Christmas past, Winston to fill in for present, and Ray to begin filling in for future. Two hilarious results that are not about to convince Ebenezer Scrooge, but they do delay the inevitable. It's a good episode. It is a good episode. It's a nice character moment for Peter, to explain why he's such a grouch most of the time. At least about Christmas. Great Stock, Texas Terrible Night. Texas Terrible Night is another chance to see Tex-Hex's past, and is a Christmas-themed episode based over the planet of New Texas. If there ain't any snow here, according to Handlebar himself. No, it does not snow on a planet called New Texas that is all desert. But, no. And apparently Handlebar has heard of snow. But anyway, it's another chance to see Tex-Hex's past, and is an opportunity for the shaman to play the roles of past, present, and future by escorting Tex-Hex around to look back on his old life with Ursula, to see the present, wherein Ursula has a new companion now that they just ambushed in the Strato stage, and could risk harming her again by attacking the town of Fort Kirium while Brave Star's away. And a future without Tex-Hex, where Stampede, the person who created Tex-Hex in the first place, now leads his gang. It's a lot to unpack. Well, it culminates in Tex stopping Stampede today, and that leaves a lot to unpack. Because he was reminded one more time how much he once did care for another person. And it's always nice to see Texas carrying side one more time and to see his past again, which we rarely see enough of. Last but not least, here we go. G.I. Joe, a real American hero. The Cobra Claws are coming to town. This is great. It's a great episode. The G.I. Joes pick up some toys for a toy drive and deliver them straight to the pit. Unbeknownst to them, these are Trojan toys packed with Cobra agents in shrunken vehicles, thanks to one of Destro's devices. Well, Cobra is now inside the pit, past pit security, trapped in Trojan toys, because they've shrunken their agents and their vehicles down to sneak inside. They wind up capturing Duke, Covergirl, Mutt, Shipwreck, Dusty, and Barbecue, and Wild Bill, and Roadblock. Yeah, that's it. Though it's Christmas time, most of the other reserves would be at home with their families. No Snake Eyes today to rescue the Joes. Yeah, that's kind of a letdown about this episode. No Snake Eyes. And Duke and Covergirl rather than Duke and Scarlet. Anyway. Well, the Joes are trapped and the Cobras are ready to launch an attack on the town of Keystone City in G.I. Joe's own vehicles to mislead the public into thinking that the Joes have instituted martial law, thanks also in due part to Zartan disguising himself as Duke and making the broadcast the day before that they're ready to attack Keystone City. Oh, also plus, thanks to the fact that Cobra Commander has locked Duke in the co-pilot seat of his own Sky Striker, so that's the face that the folks of Keystone City see as the Sky Strikers and Ostrikers and Maulers and other G.I. Joe vehicles are bombing an innocent town. Well, Shipwreck of all people manages to get the keys, manages to get the Joes out of imprisonment because, being Cobra Commander, he gloated and locked the keys up with them, thinking that he was just being extra vicious that day in locking the keys in with the Joes. Typical Cobra Commander. Well, if the Cobras are in Joe vehicles, they've also left behind their own and now fully and ready to be fully grown all over again in order to be useful by the G.I. Joe forces. There is also an incident when Destro's weapon goes off on Polly, making him the size of a pterodactyl. Yeah. Cobra Claws Are Coming to Town is one of the best episodes of Season 1. Also, coincidentally, G.I. Joe's best season. There is something a little ear-shattering that Polly will not quit whistling Jingle Bells even at her I think it's his normal size, let alone when he's the size of a Godzilla creature and insists on repeating Jingle Bells over and over again. But it gave him the chance to save one of the to save Cobra Commander's Sky Striker from crashing with Duke still inside. Well, there you have it. Those were just a few of the Christmas episodes from the 1980s. Enjoy. And a blessed Yule to you and yours. Merry Christmas, my friends. What was that? Those were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those were 10 Christmas episodes. Those were 10 syndicated Christmas episodes. Guess Real Ghostbusters Season 1 was Saturday mornings, but okay. Let's break this down one more time. I already broke down what the episodes were about. I've got a new top 10 list. Alright, here we go. Number 10, Gadget Saves Christmas. Number 9, Snowkill. Number 8, Trip to Morania. And you have no idea what it does to me to rank an episode of He-Man so low. Trip to Morania, number 8. I said what I said. Number 7, When Savage Stole Santa. Number 6, Gadget in Winterland. Number 5, Black Snow. You have no idea what it does to me to rank an episode of She-Ra that low, especially one of Frost's best episodes. Number 4, Xmas Marks the Spot. Number 3, Texas Terrible Night. Number 2, Cobra Claw's Coming to Town. Number 1, Region of Ice. That'll do it for this list. Have a Merry Christmas season, blessed holiday, and I'll see you soon.